My friend Simon Miller here, if you can believe it. We are like 24 hours away from WrestleMania Backlash. I don't know about you, and what do I know? Absolutely nothing. It kind of feels like WWE doesn't care. That doesn't mean we don't have some good matches on the card, because we absolutely do, and make sure you go check out my WrestleMania Backlash predictions. That's right, it was a cheap plug. But as for now, we shall take this, the very slowly finger of power, which is temporarily the fist of power, which sounds absolutely disgusting, and we're going to give the good bits up and the bad bits are down for the latest episode of WWE SmackDown. Can somebody please tell me why Aliyah is now being used as a prop? I get in storylines, sometimes you are going to have to use people in this fashion, but she's still pretty damn new. I mean, she's not, but when she came up to the main roster, she vanished for a while, so it counts. But SmackDown was meant to start with Aliyah taking on Charlotte Flair, because of course Aliyah didn't tap out last week in the time that Charlotte wanted her to, as usual, because WWE had advertised a match. It didn't happen. So from now on, when you do see the graphic or you do see the social media post, if I were you, I would think the opposite, and then you will never be disappointed again. Charlotte was out before all this though and blamed everything that was going on Drew Gulak, and I was like, man, poor Drew Gulak, he's having a terrible time, and that when we get to the pay-per-view, the premium live event, she will make Ronda Rousey say, I quit, and I will tell you right here, right now, if that does happen, I will eat my hat. And don't forget, you're not meant to be eating people's hats. It's gonna make you feel sick. As Aliyah was basically looking at Flair, Charlotte was like, well, I'm gonna pretend you're Ronda Rousey. Come here, Ronda. And Aliyah listened to what she was saying. Even Pat McAfee was like, why is she listening? Her name isn't Ronda Rousey, but of course she then started to beat the absolute shit out of this poor woman, as that Simpsons kid was all like, stop, she's already dead. This is when Ronda Rousey came out to make the save, and as we all know, WWE is still obsessed with this brawl that we did before the WrestleMania 35 main event, so even though Becky Lynch isn't in this one, they did it again. Although I will say this, even though the fans didn't really care, I thought it was intense, I thought it was entertaining, and I thought it did a pretty good job in bigging up their match. When they were being thrown into barricade, they were just smashing each other in the face when all the referees came out to try and stop this, and have a guess if they succeeded. The answer is no. So my question to you, WWE HR department, is why aren't you hiring better individuals to break up massive brawls? I've been watching wrestling for a long ass time, and I never see that happen. They did keep finding ways to kind of kick at each other before they were broken up, and as I've already said, there's something about this feud that hasn't clicked, so I hope that Ronda Rousey does become the SmackDown Women's Champion, and then we move on to something else. But in terms of a segment on my wrestling show, I am giving it up. Shayna Baszler then defeated Sasha Banks. It was good. Naomi is now injured too after Baszler whooped her ass last week, and as always, Sasha was in control here until Natalya cast distraction. Now listen to me. It was announced on the WWE financial call a couple of days ago that we are going to get a WWE RPG, and I swear, if there isn't some move called distraction that costs 10 MP, I am going to be a very upset bald person. Baszler then smashed Sasha after she went for a head scissors and turned it into a slam, and that was a really good spot. So essentially, we were playing our roles here. Shayna Baszler was like, oh my gosh, I'm a champion warrior, I'm going to kick your ass, and really should be feuding with Ronda Rousey when she does become the champion. Sasha Banks was all like, oh my gosh, I'm the babyface, but don't worry, because I'm about to come back. This happened too, because somewhere along the way, Shayna did kind of hurt her arm too, so Banks went after that and smashed it over and over again into Alan the announce table, and then she was doing all of her moves, she was doing the Meteora, and I bet you were meant to think, well, maybe she's going to win. She didn't. You already know this. We do have to focus on the specifics though, because recently WWE has once again become obsessed with the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, the backwards. Because just as Shayna Baszler was going to lose, she rolled up Sasha Banks, she was grabbing the ropes, and Natalya was helping out too. She got the 1, 2, 3, and it was like, how dare you do it? This was the right result though, because you have to tell the audience that there's a small chance that these two may win the tag team championships, even though that's probably never going to happen. However, it was fine, it ticked the box. There was also a big fight afterwards between all the teams until Naomi made the save, and I can't work out why this isn't on WrestleMania Backlash, or maybe it is and I've just forgotten. Again, WWE hasn't really been getting a megaphone and going, oh my gosh. Just feels so lackluster. Quick interview with the Usos next, and they're not worried about Sunday because they know they're going to win. And seriously, they better, otherwise Roman Reigns is going to cut their penises off. Man, I shouldn't have said it. I regret it instantly. I'm sorry, I've just been watching a lot of Game of Thrones. Okay, bro then retorted and said that they were going to win at the premium live event. So I was like, oh, great. Someone has just flipping lied to me. It was then time for another episode of Happy Talk with Happy Corbin. And as ever, sad times were coming my way. Because WWE has decided to make this feud about the fact that Baron Corbin doesn't have any hair. Well, you know what? Sometimes it happens, and our bald brotherhood is going to stand tall. That was kind of a little bit weird, because Corbin got in the ring and said that Madcap was an absolute goober when Moss appeared on the big screen and he started to insult Baron Corbin. Corbin was like, haha, you're being the big man back there, but you wouldn't say it to my face. So Moss said, yes, I would. And he walked out. And he said it to Baron Corbin's face. Where it really got good though is that it was here where Madcap Moss started to go through all of Baron Corbin's personas, and he even mentioned the Lone Wolf one. I was like, man, I really want to go back to that one day. However, Madcap wanted to make a joke about it, and he got the fans to chant, Big Bald Wolf. Once again, I just stare off into the distance, touch my non-existent hair. So once again, this was all fine, but the major takeaway is that the fans were completely behind Madcap Moss, which means we have achieved our goal. I don't mean to repeat myself, but Corbin should lose on Sunday, Madcap Moss has a little bit of a gimmick change, and then we go wherever the hell we're gonna go. But honestly, I think this has been well done from start to finish. Give it up. We then found out what Drew Gulak's role was going to be this week, and surprisingly, it was wrestler. And I should never say, I'm so shocked the wrestler was being a wrestler. That's what happens when you get into WWE. He'd been told that he was going to fight a mystery opponent too, and I can't lie, I thought this was brilliant, because out came Ludwig, Bowser's son, and he said, haha, you're going to be fighting Gunther, and Gunther walked out, and Drew Gulak looked like he was about to die, and then they just had a terrific squash match, including Gunther slapping or chopping, whatever word you want to use, Gulak so hard, I thought his heart was going to come out of his mouth. It ended with a powerbomb, and seriously, fair play to these guys. They totally understood what they were trying to get across here because they are professionals. And honestly, if we keep doing this with Gunther, he should absolutely go after a world championship. He is so damn legit. He is so damn believable. Please, for the love of everything, do not mess this up. And it's getting it up. But they just had the most bizarre stuff next, because we were reminded that the Usos took out Rick Boogs, who recently had surgery, and that Roman Reigns beat the crap out of Shinsuke Nakamura. So Nakamura was being interviewed, and he said, I haven't forgotten, Roman, and one day I will get my revenge. Now, what do you mean, one day you get your revenge? It'll be a crap movie. Go get your revenge now. But also, two, when he came out for the lumberjack match, he didn't seem to care. Sometimes WWE is crazy. I mean, what's he going to do too? He's probably going to be on the top rope and it will magically break, and that will be that. But the key to all this is that Sami Zayn was eavesdropping once again and was all like, I'm going to tell Roman. And as I've told you 1,000 times, anything Sami Zayn does, brilliant. Quick interview with Drew McIntyre too, who told us that his team with RK Bro is going to be RK Mook Bro, which is good, but surely we should have gone with R Clay Bro, but don't worry about it. And he said, I am going to knock the head off the head of the table. So bring it down. That is a death threat. Add it to the counter. And then we just had a tables match. Why the flub not? It was the New Day versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland, and as we have got here, I just want to give a quick shout out to Big E, who went on social media recently and said his neck isn't healing in the way the doctors would have hoped it to. So I can't cross my fingers here, but I will cross them over here, and I just want to send that guy all the positivity in the world, because he's a hero, and I want him to get out the other side. Otherwise, this feud continues to be a roller coaster because it's just so random, but there were tables, they were doing big moves, the fans were really into it. You can't say fairer than that. The subplot is that Butch is still missing, of course, and that will tie into the finish, but also that every single time a tag team tried to put somebody else through a table, the other tag team partner was ready there to move the wood out of the way. So it's kind of like some weird wave, and it's pretty cool. There was also this awesome crossbody from Kofi Kingston off the top rope as he took out Sheamus and they went crashing through Barry Barricade. But all that did was piss off the Irishman, because then he hit white noise on the apron. And I went out there and I did my research and I talked to some people. That's the hardest part of the ring. This is where Xavier Woods got involved and he was able to kick the crap out of Ridge Holland, but when he went to the top rope, Sheamus knocked him off and it looked like he hurt his leg. And honestly, he worked me good, brother. I was like, oh no, he's actually got injured. I don't think he was at all. It was kind of obvious how this was going to end because the commentators did keep going, oh, where's Butch? I wonder where Butch was, when all of a sudden he appeared from beneath the ring. So I was dying. I was like, Sheamus, Ridge Holland, you went around the entire arena and you put posters up, but you didn't check beneath the ring? You absolute idiots. He was so mad he was able to take out the New Day, and this led Woods in a bunch of trouble. Sheamus and Ridge Holland grabbed him, they gave him a chokeslam through the table. Ding, ding, ding. Match over. Butch went back to being nuts afterwards, so Sheamus had to drag him off. I know. I am entertained by this, and I don't know why. Good tables match. Kayla Braxton was then with Paul Heyman and actually said, Paul, did you hear what Drew McIntyre said earlier? He wants to behead Roman Reigns. I was like, Kayla, what are you doing? You're outside his locker. He will come out and he will go crazy. This, of course, is when Sami Zayn snuck back in and was trying to win the favor of Paul Heyman, saying, I heard this, I heard that. Please let me into the bloodline. And seriously, I think we should do it. Maybe Sami Zayn wins the Money in the Bank briefcase or something, and that ties into this weird relationship between the lot of them. I think that'd be very, very good. It all tied into the fact that Zayn was going to prove himself by taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. So he found Adam Pearce. He said, oh man, I really want him. So Pearce went, all right, well, you can fight him later. Sami Zayn's face. He was so disappointed. I'm gonna do it again. The best. Things then got very intriguing with Lacey Evans, because we had another backstage promo where she just talked about her real life story and it will leave you floored, like, holy crap, how did anybody go through that? But when she came out to finally say hello to the fans live and in person, we were told that we had to stand up and show her the respect she deserved. So all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, is this a swerve? Have we got through all of this stuff just for Lacey Evans to be a heel? Now I hold my hands up because it may work. It may be the greatest twist in wrestling history. Until I see it, I don't know. But it also feels like we have this white hot babyface ready to go. And as always, WWE gonna go in the other direction. So it truly is a wait and see moment. This is my wait and see pose, but my eyebrow was like this. I kept trying to pull it down and I couldn't. That's when you know something is up. Had a quick recap of everything that Raquel Rodriguez did last week, and I'm still worried about that. When Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. Zayn continued on winning my praise when he went and yelled at Pat McAfee for dancing to Shinsuke Nakamura's music. And honestly, they could do this match 82,977 times and it would never be bad. I mean, do you remember how Nakamura debuted down in NXT? He took on Sami Zayn, and that was a match for the ages. There's also this great bit where Nakamura was going to go for the Kinshasa, but instead Sami Zayn hit him with a Michinoku driver, and because Shinsuke didn't like that, he just started to knee him in the face over and over again. Then he got on the top rope and he did it again, kicking his ass. This actually did all tie into the last few weeks though, because just as Nakamura was getting his momentum, Sami Zayn ran away to the point even Pat McAfee was like, him legging it may as well be his new finishing move. But then they fought outside, Nakamura went into Barricade, and Sami Zayn got back in the ring at the last second and he won via counter. Now this does tie into the story and it does tie into the character, but it threw me immensely because now I don't know where we're going. So I'm going to give it an up, but look how tentative it is. Kind of threw me off guard. We do need to hurl a quick down in there though, because it was at this point of SmackDown I realised, flood me sideways, they are pumping in so much crowd noise, it is getting ridiculous. And do they just have one file, like crowd1.mp3? It sounds the same every damn time. Just stop doing it. I would rather have silence than, yeah, and 2 minutes later, yeah, 2 minutes later, yeah. I mean, listen to me, I sound like a goat trying to give birth, stop it down. We did finish SmackDown though, as we had started, with a big old massive brawl. Drew McIntyre and RK Bro were out first, and as ever, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee had to call them RK McBro around about 47 times, so by the end of it I was like, I don't enjoy that name anymore. But take that and throw it over there, because these three got in the ring, and oh my gosh, this is the best SmackDown segment in ages. Because they started taking the mick out of Roman Reigns, doing his whole acknowledge me thing, when Riddle got the microphone and said, look, I just want to acknowledge everything. I want to acknowledge that Randy Orton is my best friend. I started crying. I was like, oh man, it's so beautiful. But then you had Drew McIntyre saying, I want to acknowledge I beat Randy Orton, and Randy Orton saying, I want to acknowledge that I beat Drew McIntyre. But the whole time, Riddle would just come back and go, yeah, acknowledge. Honestly, you got to see it. It's a treat. This went on for ages as well, but you could have slapped another 5 minutes it? I've been like, yes. But when Drew McIntyre called our head of the table a piece of crap, his music hit, and out came his boys. We weren't mucking around at all though, because they just pulled the trigger instantly, including Roman Reigns hitting Drew McIntyre with a Superman punch. This is when RK Bro got back in there though, and they hit the Usos with a couple of RKOs, and if you can believe it, it meant SmackDown went off air with Roman getting Claymored right in the face. This instantly made me go, well, the Bloodline is clearly going to win on Sunday, but this was really fun, it was really intense. While I'm still mad that unified tag team match got thrown out the window, it did make me want to see this match more. I am giving it up. Also, the Bloodline definitely interrupted, whether that was McIntyre's plan or not, so that is 75 in WWE, and 115 overall. We are definitely going to clear 2-0-0. Now, please do leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's episode of SmackDown. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Head on over to WhatCulture.com where you can read yourself some articles. Make sure you follow us on social media. Look, we got loads of videos. They're looking at me. They're just there. Watch one. My name is Simon for WhatCulture. Thank you for joining me as always. You make sure you have a lovely day.